they know that that's rewarding the behaviour. So she obviously knows this, but we're going to go through the phases. So the way you would teach a horse that what the click means is by associating the click and the treat. So you start off by doing it at the same time, like that. You do, as you give it to her, you as you give it to them, you click. So they start to associate the noise with that. Now you might want to do that for a week, maybe a few days, depends how quickly your horse picks it up. And you're looking at doing short sessions, maybe even out in the field, in their stable, wherever, because you're just getting them associating the noise. Now once you've done that for a few days, or until the horse gets it, that's all you're going to do. So then you're going to move on to click then treat, which is your next stage, which you might do for a few days. So this is just letting her understand that even though she's not getting it at the same time, that noise is then followed by a reward. If I walk away, and then she knows that it's coming. Okay, that is the basis. What you're then going to do is introduce a target. This is a budget training video, so we're using a sponge. Very cheap, you can get like a packet for £1. So what we're teaching the horse to do is to touch the target and to understand that when they touch it they get a click, which they know is then a treat. If you rush this, your horse will just get confused, so it's pointless. So spend the time doing the basis. So we're going to hold it here. When she touches it, she gets a click, then a treat. Good girl. Any dog clicker will do. I like one with a harsh sound, but then some horses get a bit spooked by that. So it doesn't really matter, whatever works for your horse. Now if they touch your hand near the sponge, that's not the sponge, it has to be the target that they're touching. Once they've understood that they need to touch it, you can start moving it around. This shows you whether they're ready because they're starting to follow it around. So high, low, to the sides, whatever works. I'm going to walk over here. I want her to go to the target. Good girl. You might not be able to hear the clicker from where you are, but she's getting a click every time she does touch the target. See if she'll do it detached. So that's a difficult one because they seem to see the treat and you together. Once you drop the target, they sometimes don't notice. So that might take time, but you have to stay on each of the stages for a little while.
Come on.
You may have to spend a couple of weeks on each stage. Yes, thank you. I'm going to get her to bend around for it. No, we're doing that, that's a different one. Good girl. Might even see if she'll bend over here for it. She can see all the way around. Good girl. Obviously we're working with a horse who knows what she's doing, but you can work them up to this stage. Yeah. Now where this comes handy is that you can make anything the target. I originally didn't teach her clicker training for tricks. I taught it as part of desensitizing because clicker is a game, it's something fun that they're doing. So if you can turn a scary situation into a game, that makes teaching them stuff a lot easier. So for example, I used to walk her out a lot in hand when she was a baby, and if we came across scary road signs or scary anything, she actually learned that whatever I point to is the target. So if we walk over here, I don't know if I can find Gren. Maybe the tyres will do. She's very sassy. When I point to it, she should touch it. Good girl. Which, you know, it worked for her. A lot of things that once we'd taught it. But the things it can be really useful with are things like first rugs. If you've got a youngster, it's really easy to teach them. first rugs, first saddles. It changes everything into a fun game. Good girl. Scary bike, motorbike, something like that. Get the guy to stop, do some clicker training. Come with me. Okay, so once you've established your target and got them working with that, and you might spend months doing that before you get to any point where you're going to get to rearing. But if I can have my stick from my lovely assistant. Thank you. Wait a minute. You can then, your next stage is to start working on this. And she gets really into it. This is how focused they need to be if you're ever going to get those feet off the ground. Very focused. They've got to want it really badly. So you start off taking that away from you. And again, if they touch the stick, it doesn't count, it has to be the target itself. I'm not even looking, what are you looking at? Ren, target's over here. And it's a way to show that they're understanding that they are following that target away from you as well, it's not in your hand. And a lot of them will they'll try and like then she touched the stick first, she's like, will that do kind of half effort? If you start rewarding them for half efforts, you're never going to get the full thing. So the actual rearing part, once you've done all this, is really easy. One day you just hold it too high. Good girl. Now she isn't touching the target anymore because she's past that stage of training, she knows the cue. And it would actually be quite hard because she's going up higher now. But that's how we first get their feet off the ground, is by putting it out of reach, which is actually really quite simple. Now the next stage is to remove your target. Well, if you just take it away, they're not going to know what you're on about. So you have to give them a few other cues. So we use hup as ours. So you start off going hup. Oh, good girl, don't fall over. Hup. So she has hup as her verbal cue, and also your body language. Now, once you've got the verbal cue sorted, it's not going to be quite enough at first, so you're going to need a body language as well. Now what I did at first was just remove the target, so you now have a stick. Again, budget, you can just use a whip. Wait a minute. So then we're going to be going up. Good girl. And she gets a treat for that. She's filthy. Now once they're doing that, I mean this is a fast track obviously, but once you've got them doing with the target, you then remove the target and you've got your verbal cue in there. So you start off target and verbal cue, and then we're going to take away the target but have the stick and verbal cue. Wait. Then, so yeah, sorry, the stick and verbal cue then, so back, back, wait, up. Now, what is worth doing when they're learning a verbal cue, go back, is to actually repeat it while they're up there. So, hup, hup, hup. And a couple of clicks is okay at this point because you're rewarding the fact that they are still on their back legs, which is great. Good girl. Okay, then you're going to remove the stick. So, they haven't got that anymore. Nope, it's gone. Go back. But what you still have is a physical and verbal cue. Back, back, wait, good girl. So you're using the same body language. Now what we've been working on is getting her to do it from further away. So we're going to do stand, ready, up, up. Good girl. She does walk towards me. She's very enthusiastic. She knows who's got the treats. We'll do that again. Stand. Run. Up. Good girl. Now, not that I think she's ever going to be in a film, but if I was in a film set, I couldn't do it stood right in front of her. So the plan is you do it from further